Good Saturday afternoon. Well, you didn't expect a video so soon from old 64 Goat, the old fossil of Connecticut. However, I decided to make a video because there are some people that would like to see a video from me from time to time. First of all, my wife, Sandy, is due to come home next week. It was supposed to be this week, but it's going to be about Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We have to get the nurses lined up and whatever that's supposed to be there to take care of her when she's home. She's doing good and she's walking better, but her legs get very shaky and she has to sit down. So hopefully she stays motivating, and that's going to be easier said than done, because when you're in a facility like that, they keep you going. Except on the weekends, there is no physical therapy. It's only 5 days a week. But they cut her down to 3 days a week because of I guess it's because of the insurance or something like that. But anyways, she's doing good. A lot of packages have been coming in for her, and mostly stuff that she does all her Christmas shopping online. So it's overwhelming. It's just piling up. I got 4 shopping bags, the cloth bags that we used to use for going out shopping, full of stuff that she gets. Some of it is medical things, but most of them are gifts and stuff, because she always starts her Christmas shopping like in July and August, and she buys a little bit each time. So I'm forever picking up packages. I'm forever blowing bubbles. Oh, no, we're not talking about bubbles, we're talking about packages. Okay, speaking of packages, it's been about 6 months since I ordered anything on eBay. Basically, this is the shop right here, as you probably recognize. I have not done any work in the shop at all on that radio. I know I still need to work more on it. The problem is those capacitors are super tiny, and the little bypass capacitor block, there's like 4 of them, and they're super tiny, and it's going to be a challenge. But I didn't do any more with it because I've been very, very busy with my wife. When she was home, I was taking care of her, and when she needs to go to the bathroom, I have to take care of her and all that stuff, and get stuff that she needs. Like to get her breakfast or lunch and whatever, and if we go out to get anything, I go out and I go and get something to bring back, usually once a week. So I just have not been working in here, and the only thing I'm doing in here, other than the leaks that I fixed, again, as I showed you in the last video, that valley area is a big problem, and so I got that taken care of, and then the inside, of course, it's all fixed up in there. But the other reasons I go in there is to dump the dehumidifier and keep that area from getting damp. So I've been saving up my money, like $5, $10 a week, putting it off to the side for buying something on eBay. I haven't looked on eBay until last week. Before that, I would never even bother looking. I says, I got no room for anything anyways. And the last thing on my mind is buying something and doing some work in the shop. Because basically, I just wasn't in the mood to do it. And our neighbors, as I said, have been asking me for some videos, and they really like the hillbilly leaf plow videos. The hillbilly leaf plow videos, basically I do it because it's getting so hard for me to rake the leaves now. That I'm huffing and puffing now. I just do a little bit and I'm puffing. I'm getting worse. It's getting to a point where I can't even do it anymore. So the hillbilly leaf plow makes it very easy for me to just, the mower grinds them up, and the hillbilly leaf plow just pushes them out of the way. And I do it in the front here, in the backyard rather. In the front, most of the time the park owner does the front, but sometimes they get all leaves, the wind blows all the leaves against our house, and physically I can't do it. I'd have to run the hillbilly leaf plow through there, and I don't like that. So anyways, so There will be some hillbilly leaf plow videos coming up when we get enough. We don't have, as you can see, some of the leaves are off the trees, but 90% of them are still up there. And so I'll use the leaf blower, which is good for light leaves like this, but when you get a big pile, it doesn't do anything. And I can't go out and buy one of them big leaf blowers because they're not self-propelled, and it would take all I can do to push them, and they're very, very expensive, and I have no place to keep it out except out in the yard, which would get mice in it and everything else. But anyways, I've talked quite a bit. So, as I said, I haven't bought anything on eBay in a while. I am a glutton for vintage electronic test equipment. This modern Chinese stuff, some of it's okay, but I like the old ones. And I acquired a Weston Model 777 tube tester. Now I've got the Radio City Products 808 tube tester, which I made a video on, that I replaced some resistors in it and a capacitor for the leakage, the leak bulb, you know, because that uses a capacitor, and restored that, but I had a good chance, a good deal to get on this one here, and it came in yesterday, last night. It was dropped off at UPS on the front porch. So I put it in the shop here, and what I want to do is to take it out and basically just show you what it is, and I'm not going to go too crazy with it. The bottom appears to be a little loose, and it's a wooden cabinet, so I may just run a bead of Carpenter's Tight Bond wood glue on the edges. It's a good day for it, and I'll probably share that, doing that out here. However, it's not going to be an electronic video. At a later date, I will go through the tester and check it out. It came in very good condition, except that the guy that I got it from, who is a radio man also, did not secure the tube inside. So it, on those model, from what I understand, the Weston Model 777 tube tester uses 2-meter rectifier tubes, two different kinds. One is an 01A, and the other is a 5Y3. All right, Tommy's camera stopped. I guess it records so long and then it stops. He's using a different camera instead of the W1 Boblov that he normally uses, and we both normally use. As I recall, we left off with the Weston Model 777 tube tester, which is in the early 40s, it was made, used two different kinds of meter rectifier tubes. The schematic that I have that was sent to me, mine shows an 01A, but what's in the tester is a 5Y3. And the difference between an 01A and a 5Y3 is quite different. The 01A is a 4-pin, 5-volt filament tube, which has a grid and a plate, of course. And so, in other words, it's a triode, but it's used as a diode for a meter rectifier, which is the tester meter itself. On the 5Y3, it's also a 5-volt filament, but it can it's an actual rectifier tube and can handle much more current, and it contains, being it's a rectifier, it only contains 2 plates, so it's a full wave rectifier, whereas the 01A, when you combine the grid and the plate together, it becomes a half wave rectifier. So basically, it's doing the same thing. It's a meter rectifier for the meter of the tester. So my tester has the 5Y3 in it, and the schematic I have is a for the 01A. So I don't know what the difference is at the rest of the circuit, but no big deal. The thing was that the tube was rolling around in the case. He packed the unit very well. However, the tube inside, what you're supposed to do is, whenever you send tube equipment in the mail, you're supposed to remove all the tubes and wrap them individually and either put them in the case or in a separate package in the main package. Or something to keep the tube from falling or rolling around. Fortunately, it didn't get broken. As I recall, I may have a 5Y3 if that was the case. I put the tube in the socket and was able to adjust the line voltage, the line where you're supposed to set it. If you're familiar with tube testers, you set the line to the center line and you plug your tube in. After the tube warms up, you readjust it so that it's in the center line, and then the test will be accurate. So it worked last night. I tried in the house, but I didn't try it on a tube to test an actual tube. So enough talking of that. We're going to bring it out and just going to show you a little bit of it and see what I have to do with the cabinet if I have to glue it at all. So let me get up my old carcass here so I don't trip over it. My knees are really bad, and it's very difficult for me to get my carcass up into here. And unfortunately, it is missing a handle, which is quite common. It's a wooden case, and the handles are usually leather. No big deal. A handle could be added, but it would not be authentic. So we'll get it on, and it's just quite hefty. We'll get it over here. Follow me. All right. How's the battery in that camera, Tom? Holding up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't record very long.
No, that's the problem. That's why I like the Bob Lob. The problem is with the Bob Lob, you get a habit of squeezing the camera and getting all these loud clicks, which are very irritating. Okay, so on the bottom here, I think it may be okay. However, we'll find out. It's got 4 feet. You come over on this side. It's got 4 feet here. And it looks like somebody might have put varnish on it or something. There's a YouTube video on this, and the cabinet on that one is much better. What it did come with is 2 sheets of the setup charts, okay, and the instruction manual, which I have downloaded off the line, but it being that's a scanned document, it's not very clear, and this one here is much clearer. And the schematic, which somebody downloaded, but it is the schematic for an O1A, which is right here, and that's the meter rectifier right here. And that's basically all. It's an emission tester. It is not a mutual transconductance. So we will turn it around. I think what I want to do is put them felt pads on the 4 felt pads on the back of this. So, according to the schematic, this is the original plug, and it has 2 1-amp fuses, quick flow fuses. So they fuse both sides of the line, which is a good idea. And the cord is in pretty darn good shape. Now, the only thing missing, I think, is a grid cap here. This is a double grid cap. It's just for the smaller ones and the little larger ones. And basically, it's 9 switches, I believe. Your line adjust, potentiometer, and the meter works very well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out the 4 screws. I had them out last night on the kitchen table just to look in there and put the tube back in the socket. So we'll do that and we'll get right back. Okay, we'll take the screws out. Now a couple of these screws just pull out. So I have to fill the hole in. This one screws into the wood good, but some of them don't. Now you can use larger, fatter screws, I should say, in it. This is one of them that you can just pull out. Okay. So I gotta put something in, and the only thing I think I could use is some of this glue in the hole a little bit, and then set the screw in there, and hope that when the glue sets up, I could take the screw out. In other words, do it with the tester out of the box. There's only 4 screws here. My reading glasses broke in half just now when I went to get them, so we'll have to do without them. I got more in the house, but that's the only one I have out here, other than what's in the shop. And this hole here has got to be thickened up. Now, years ago, when you used to have loose doors in the house, my dad showed me that, you take a wooden matchstick and stick it in the hole and put the screw in. But you can't do that here. First of all, I don't have any wooden matches, and these screws are too small in diameter. But it's got that nice vintage smell, not musty, but a nice old smell, which I really, really like. Okay. I love vintage electronics. I'm a glutton for that. It's when things were made good in America, and people had jobs when they build these things. It's not like everything made in China now. Let's see, now does this come off? Yeah, it does. Okay, good. All right, put that over here. Make it a little easier to work with. All right. Now, as you can see, this is the 5Y3. 5Y3 is an 8-pin octal. Okay, the 01A is a 4-pin. And this is an original socket. It's got rivets, not screws. At least I don't think. No, it's got screws, but I think it's original. And it was laying in the bottom of the case, so we'll just put that back in, and put that over here. Let's see what we got here. It looks like somebody had glued it right in here. I don't know if you can see that, right in there. Okay, so basically I'm going to do the same thing. I think I'm going to just reinforce it a little bit. They got corner blocks in here, but these holes are big in here. See that? They're big. So I think carpenter's wood glue I don't think will stick to metal. In other words, if I fill each hole with the wood glue and then put these screws back in, and the glue will form the threads, and I can unscrew these screws, that should work okay. I don't want to put the tester back in. We'll leave the tester like it is, and we'll lay it upside down on this thing. So, all right, so what I got to do here is it's got 2 screws here. It's pretty clever. 2 screws here with a block of wood so that you can get the plug through this opening right here. See how big that, see that circle right there? So it's well designed. It's not like the junk they make nowadays. So now there's a little play in this plug. So there's a screw in the middle here. Years ago, everything can be serviced without sending it to the landfill. So we're going to simply do here, we're not going to get too fancy. We're going to, I'll be back. I got to break this with a pair of pliers to get this open. Okay. Since somebody's already glued this, and I can see the white evidence of that here, what I usually do, just to reinforce the bottom, is I'll run a bead along all the corners here. Now I'll do that, and that'll reinforce the bottom. I could add blocks down in here, but I don't have the quarter round molding that I need, a little small, and I'm not going to go to Home Depot to get that. I don't need it that much. It's not that critical. I just want to keep the bottom sturdier because it feels like it's a little bit loose. Now we're going to just run a bead in there when this is ready to come out.
Using my Olympus VR 360 camera here.
Okay. Now we just drive a little bit of glue in here. The right way is to take the bottom off and do it, but we're not doing that. We're just reinforcing it a little bit. Never bring a rag with me. Okay. Now, can you see in there and you get a good view of that? See how I did it? Just nothing fancy. It's just to run a little bead to straighten it out, strengthen it up. You can come around here, and I'm going to do the same over here. There's a little space in here that needs gluing, so I'm going to run a bead through there.
This camera does pretty good videos. $5 I paid for at the Jewel City Flea Market.
Not too bad. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this glue should dry clear. I don't know what they used, whoever did this before, but nothing fancy, but when it dries, it'll be fairly clear. Now, what I'm going to do here, let's see, that seems to be pretty strong. I'm going to put some glue in here. Especially the holes that are really large. And I'm not sure where the original holes are. So in other words, my hope is that the glue will form a thread, because the glue will adhere to the wood. And we drive that down to about an 1/8 inch from the top, allow for the panel thickness. We don't need to drive it down all the way. And this is the one that's really, really loose. I can just, the glue didn't go in there. If that don't work, I'll get some little pieces of wood and jam them in there. This goes in by hand, so it's very, very, it can just be pulled out, but I'm hoping that the threads will form in the glue itself, and you can see now that the glue is being pushed out of the hole by the screw, so the glue will form around the screw, and carpenter's wood glue will not stick to metal very good. In other words, it'll stick to the wood. We leave this dry overnight. We'll leave the tester out of it. And we'll put the other screws in and see. There's 2 holes in here. And I'm not sure what one, because somebody had made, had attempted to do another hole. So I could be going into the wrong one, or I could be going into the original hole, which is okay. I want it to line up on the panel out there. So if this don't work, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. We'll get it done. I love working on these. You know, I love antique test equipment. You know, I'm a glutton for tube testers. This one goes right in. I'm a glutton for tube testers and oscilloscopes. Although I haven't been buying any oscilloscopes. I haven't been buying anything. This is the first thing I bought on eBay since I bought some rechargeable batteries. Don't look bad. When that dries, it'll be pretty clear. No problem. Nobody's going to really be looking in there anyways. But you want to keep it together, and on the bottom, which is normally where it's sitting all the time on the bench, we're going to put some of these round little felt things that self-stick on here. And so that way, when you put it on the bench, you're not scratching it all up. Probably take a little WD-40 and clean up the front panel. And so forth. So while we got this setting up and drying over here, I don't have my magnifier. I do have a magnifier, yeah. The one I carry with me. Well, let's see what we got. Alright, that's the neon bulb for the short test. Wiring is very neat. Cloth covered wire, not rubber.
Neater than neater than what you can do.
My eyes are no good no more. I can't do neat work. I have to hook and pinch, which is nothing wrong with hook and pinch wiring when you're replacing stuff in the radio. It prevents damage to the tube sockets. Trying to do a good job in cleaning off the pin on the tube socket. 9 out of 10 you'll break the pin off the tube socket and you have to replace the whole damn socket. If you hook and pinch, it'll leave the wire coming out, and when you cut your old capacitor out, each capacitor, their axle lead, they'll have a lead on it. You cut it right close to the component, so you have the lead from the tube tester, tube testers, can't even talk, from the tube socket pin to the component. You cut it off at the old capacitor, and you put a hook in it, and you do the hook on the capacitor, and you put it in, and you're done. It's the best way to do it, and no problem. So this guy said he replaced the capacitor, which is right here. This has got to be the capacitor for the neon bulb, and here it is right there. The neon bulb, I think, is an NE51, which is right here. That's for your short test. If your tube has got a short in it, that'll light up. And so, judging from the wiring, this socket was not changed as far as I know, but there was 2 versions of this tester, and the only schematic that's available online that I know of is the schematic I have, which is for the 01A. Like I say, the 01A is a 4-pin tube. It's a larger tube. It comes out to about here. It's kind of like a shoulder tube, what they call shoulder tubes, because they come up like this and then they come out like that. Radios in the 30s had them. This is about 1941 to 46. Depends on the model variants, and it's very good. If you ever, and somebody replacing the modern resistors right here. He did say he replaced the resistor. Oh, I see what he did. The power resistor went on him, and that's not heavy enough. That is not heavy enough. That looks like a 10-watt right there. This resistor right here is a power resistor, and it's been replaced with what appears to be 1-watt or 2-watt resistors. The modern resistors are physically smaller with the same wattage, but that may not work out. I don't know. This is this 10-watt resistor right here. It's a 2,000 ohm 10-watt resistor. This, I would have to get in there with my better magnification and look in there. But you can see the terminal has been disconnected here, so obviously this is open. Not a big deal. The problem is I don't have the correct schematic, because my version is a 5Y3. The schematic I have here is for the 01A. Now, whether the rest of the schematic will jive in this tester with the one that's, in other words, this has a different tube in it. That's the way it came. There's 2 models. But I have somebody that's supposed to be sending me a schematic for the 5Y3 tester. So if that's the case, then I can go by that and find out exactly. But usually the resistors in here are marked, because he was nice enough to leave the old one in, so that what I would probably do is to replace these with a heavier wattage resistor. This is a wire wound, and so you want to replace it with a wire wound resistor if you can, because there is some current involved in this. Okay, that's pretty much it on that. So I've talked quite a bit. Primarily this video is probably not going to be very interesting to a lot of you, except those of you who are into radios and electronics. However, if you are, that's great. So, if you're not, it's not so great. So we were not going to do any more. We'll do the electrical in the shop, and we won't make a video on that, because there's very few people are interested in the electronic videos these days. Okay, so I'm going to finish this video out. I'm going to put this on the bench in the shop. I got to be very careful I don't drop this thing. Normally at this time of the year I would make Halloween videos, but I don't have Uncle Dorkle anymore, and even if I did, I don't feel like doing it. I'm not in a mood where I can do comedy, so-called comedy, and well, I don't know, I guess some of you like it, but I have an old video out on, I think it's on YouTube, that I did when I was trying to learn how to play the guitar. Tommy can play guitar, I can't. I can't pick a guitar. The only thing I can pick is my nose, and I'm pretty good at that. All right, but seriously, I did a video years ago. It was in the 90s, I think, when I was in the recliner. You remember that, Tom?
Yeah.
And I was singing, "There's a hole in the bottom of the sea."
Yeah.
That's a kid song. I always wanted to do that again. Before Jim Asbell passed, my good friend Jim Asbell, you heard me mention him, he wanted me to do that song again. And it's very, very, very hard, because you got to remember a whole bunch of things. It's harder to do than 12 Days of Christmas, because you're going, you're going backwards. You got the hole in the bottom of the sea, then there's a knot on the log in the hole in the bottom of the sea. Then there's a a frog on the knot in the hole in the bottom of, on the log in the hole in the bottom of the sea, and then there's a
wart?
a wart, and then there's a flea on the wart, and then there's a jigger on the flea, then there's an eye in the jigger. So this was, it goes on and on and on, and I always wanted to do that, but I can't. It's a very, very hard song to do, you know, and I was playing the guitar, but only playing 2 chords. Boom, boom. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea, and that. No, but there's a video up there, and if I can find it, I might repost it. I don't know if I can or not, but it's not very good. Okay, I'm going to end this video now. So that's what I've been up to, and I'm going to put this back in the.
You got a version of you standing in the bathroom singing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could use some glue.
It's gonna be a long video.
Yeah, that needs glue. All right, that's going to have to wait because I want to tighten that with clamps, and I got to go digging the clamps out. I'm not going to do that now. We want to get this part done and get that together. So, but we got to do some more gluing here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mice and rats and ants and roaches, and whoever else may be watching this, thank you very much for watching me and putting up with my shenanigans. I want to thank you, and there's always something I always tell you before you leave. Whatever it is you do, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, because you know what? You might like it so much you might want to do the whole damn thing again tomorrow. Good day.